let's talk a little bit about the company that you founded, Lyric Opera of Orange County, which I think is so cool because we hear all the time, coming up throughout my whole education was you got to make your own opportunity, you got to make your own opportunities, and here you are, you've done it so successfully that you have a company that's 7 years old now, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
that feels crazy
Congratulations.
coming out of pandemic times. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Um,
and I didn't even
we
think
this
about
is
that.
we call it our sixth season that we're currently in right now. But there was definitely an incubation period and a quiet period during COVID and all that stuff. Um, but no matter how stressful it is to like do the business side of things, right? And my ultimate goal is that we become large enough and successful enough that I can hire full-time people to do the business parts for me so I can
Mhm.
just go back to being an artist, which is not really a thing. We're never just artists, but
Right.
um, it, it's so much more fulfilling and feels I like it's worth the effort to be stressed out at work over something you love versus over building somebody else's dream and all those things. And I uh, the reason we started my friend and partner Michael O'Halloran, I met him during our first production. He had just moved to the area and I needed a baritone desperately, and somebody introduced him and I was like, oh my gosh, you're incredible. What? Okay, cool, awesome. Um, and we both kind of commiserated and trauma bonded over some of our um, experiences kind of coming up in that pre-recession time as young artists where as young we were keeping the lights on for companies who within the next couple of years closed out, when you're talking about all these crazy application fees, oversaturation in the market, not enough opportunities. And I remember I used to be so excited when companies would release their statistics about um, like, oh my goodness, congratulations. We had 1,200 sopranos apply. And so if we heard you, then you're already in the top 25%. And if you got a callback, you're in the top 10% of sopranos. And you feel so good about yourself. And then they go, but we took one of you. And it was the same soprano who was here for our program last year. And then you start doing the math about, okay, well, we each paid a $50 application fee. We each did it, and it's no matter what the intent was, the aftermath leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, right? And so we knew that our mission was we wanted this company to exist beyond what it was doing for the audiences and the community and the art form. When it came to working with singers, they needed to be respected and treated as professionals and have their time respected, and just the things that kind of left us feeling icky after a decade of trying to make it on our own. Um, and so that has kind of always been our driving force. And I'm always blown away by the level of singers that we are able to work with, knowing that I'm not able, we pay everybody, but we keep the rehearsal schedule ridiculously tight because it's California, and California employment laws mean I pay them hourly. I onboard, like we have 400 something employees right now, which is insane to think about. But it, showing that respect and treating them as not just artists but professionals, even if it's their first gig, it's a great learning experience for those young folks to know how they should behave and then how they deserve to be treated in return. And also, we get artists who are excited and we know that it's doing something for them in their career. They're not just doing us a favor by showing up. So it's been a really exciting opportunity to get to know all of the artists in the area as well, and who keeps coming back no matter how big their star is getting and how high they're soaring, knowing that they feel like this is a safe place to come back, try new things, fill in the gaps in their calendar, all that kind of stuff.
That's really cool. So you saw some things that were going on in the industry someone who's participating in the industry, right? Paying application fees and all that stuff, and you were like, this is not right. This is not fair,
Right. I mean,
right?
I get application fees. Right. There's no black and white. Application fees are necessary. And as somebody who, well, we don't have application fees. We don't have, but like even as a
Awesome.
small company, we get, there are certain years where for one round of auditions, we would get 600 applications. And
Wow.
no matter what I say in the post, it's like, I can't I can't afford to fly you out here. I'm not providing housing. This is it's truly a regional company. If you have family and stuff in the area, then absolutely. Um, but people are just so desperate for a stage to show what they can do,
Mm,
because there are so few opportunities out there unless you make them yourself.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, and so going back to that standard path bit for a second there, right?
Mhm.
Bachelor's, master's, young artist, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Where would you say is about the right time for someone to apply to work with you as a singer?
Um, so we are actively creating multiple levels of participation because what I don't want is to be doing some, production of we just did La Boheme in concert last week. We do fully stage productions and then concert productions. What I don't want is to pull in a 19-year-old tenor out of desperation and say, "Hey, sing Rodolfo for me," because it's not going to benefit them. It's not, they might learn a lot, but we also don't want them to. We want to show off everybody's talents at the highest level where they
Mm,
are. We can't, just like I was saying before, we all take time to settle into
to
our voices.
percolate, right?
So we do have kind of collegiate programs that we call L'Opera Petite that we focus on different ideas or concepts each time we do them, and we've been working with we bring in professors and professionals from around Southern California. We've been working with Lisa Sylvester from University of Southern California in the last couple of years on that in particular because it's just a good opportunity for folks to know what's in their backyard and what if they're thinking about going on for grad school and who's out there and who's going to help them grow. But that said, I we offer kind of workshops and feedback at certain times of the
Mm,
year as well. So if somebody's auditioning for me, and they're just not ready, I have no problem kindly saying, I am so excited to see your enthusiasm. You know what I don't need right now is for you to be singing the role of Musetta, but if you want the opportunity to come in and learn and kind of what's the word I'm looking for and sit in and soak it up, come be my buddy. Come sit next to me at the
mm,
director's table and take notes and watch and see the preparation that goes into it because the only way you really learn it is through experience. And if your voice isn't there yet, you have to find other ways to be involved, and to watch what the pros are doing, watch what they're capable of and what they're expected to be capable of. So we have what's called a junior executive board. And the idea behind that is they're part of our education program, but also our main board, just without voting privileges.
okay.
And the idea is that we are creating performance opportunities for them. We hope to let them kind of run wild, and if they want to schedule master classes and do recitals and fundraising to make it all happen, we have a nonprofit. And if you have the gumption to make these things happen, I want to support that because we need more opportunity makers. But then the idea too is that they are learning other skill sets that will
Yeah.
carry them through so they can stay in a musical career. They're getting arts administration experience, they're getting assistant directing experience, they're able to have access to our coaches and our board members so that they can just kind of get career advice and assistance, resume building, all those things. So anybody who wants to be involved, I always say,
That's
make
fantastic.
yourself involved. All you have to do, that's kind of what I used to do is just show up and be like, hey, I'm here. And yeah, not everybody can afford to volunteer their time for everything, but if you're gonna do it, make sure it's useful to you. Um,
Yeah.
so come on down.
So that's awesome. Just to make it super clear, it sounds like
Yeah,
anyone as young as like what, 18-ish?
18, 19. Yeah,
18,
yeah,
19, all the way up to, I mean, I'm sure if a seasoned pro who's
yeah.
been singing for 30 years showed up, you
We have
wouldn't say
had
no. But
somebody, not to out them, but I believe we had somebody the eldest cast member we have ever had, I believe, was 85 at the time.
oh, that is so cool. I love that.